Now then, how are you? Welcome to Cattlegrid. This is the Cattlegrid podcast, and today I'm lucky enough to have a good mate of mine who doesn't normally do stuff like this. He's only doing it because he knows me. Mr. Kane Towney, the man behind Dollhouse, the man who's totally and utterly ripping it up in Leeds at the moment. Thanks a lot for your time, pal.
Pleasure,
Appreciate you coming. I know you don't normally do it. Now, the reason I've asked Kane on is because I'm really interested in people who have a path from nowhere to somewhere to a degree. And I've come from Leeds Market. I started as a Saturday lad. I was one dog, one hair. All I've ever wanted to be is a butcher. I wanted to make it as far as I can, maybe to a point where my family don't have to work hard as what I've had to do. And I just try my best to be the best version of me that I can be and keep improving. Now, when I look at your story, coming from, from what I hear, flyering events, being a DJ, coming up and up and up to where you are now, it's something that I really admire, and it's something that I'm keen to link up with people like you. So I just wanted to get you in and say well done, basically, and how's things going?
Cheers, thank you very much. Yeah, obviously, well, lockdown's been fucking shit unless you're a butcher and smashing meat out. But yeah, business-wise, lockdown has been not good. But on a personal level, yeah, lockdown's been really good. It's been a good learning process, an invaluable learning process that we wouldn't have had, and definitely coming out of it a lot better, a lot clearer.
That's something that I've, obviously me and you have become friends over last year, and I won't lie to you, lockdown was brilliant for me. It was brilliant for me. But all that time through lockdown, I did think and care about, I've got a mate who's got a load of hairdressers, I've got a mate who's got a chain of pubs, I've got a friend like you whose business wasn't opened. And one thing that, I really did look and admire about what you were doing, you were like, right, that's it. I'm going to just train every day. You never moaned about it once. And since you've reopened, obviously we come to support you early thing. We got a table and got sorted out, and the service, you had it nailed. Because there's a lot of these pubs you go into now, and they can't wait to tell you what you can and can't do. Whereas when I come to your place, it was, unfortunately, we have to ask you to do these things. What I'm trying to say to you is your staff were really professional, and it made me feel like actually we're out having a night out instead of being in prison, being told what to do by prison guards, because you go in some of these bloody Witherspoons and places like that, and it's just an absolute nightmare. I just can't wait to tell you.
Yeah, I've experienced that myself. I think, obviously, the difference with us is our standard levels already. Out of lockdown, we've got a really high standard. As service is second to none. So we've just adapted and kept them same high standards and that personal touch, I guess. We've got a real personal touch with our customers. You're not coming into a chain like Wetherspoons, not that there's anything wrong with Wetherspoons, but we offer a much more personal service. You come into Dollhouse, you know all the bar staff, the security. I'm there myself, Tom's down there. It's very much a personal service, a VIP service. So we've just adapted that and worked under the restrictions.
It does exactly what it says on the tin. You certainly get tracked to a really good level. And, that's, again, going back to where I come from. I used to work in Leeds Market, and I'd pick certain people out and I'd think, well, he's really good at that, he's really good at that, he's really good at that. And I've tried to just use all them bits of knowledge, mould it into one, and be best version of what I can be. That, I'm certainly not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but how you have got your business to where it is now and how well organised it is, and how my business has changed, I've got to now become a better businessman. Running a factory, an e-commerce business, running 5 shops is massively different to just, I say just because it's not an easy thing, running a butcher shop, where my expertise lies. So when I'm seeing what you're doing with stuff, I'm thinking, it's, how have you owned all them skills from being a DJ to having, you obviously proper smart business operator that's obviously got ambitions to go bigger and further. Where does it all come from?
I guess my family, I've always been from a working class family. My granddad had shops in the market. We've always been a really working class family, and the strong work ethic that I've got has definitely come from that. And you know, going back to the DJ days and going back and what I do now, I think, you know, it's a bit cliche, but the key to success is doing what you love. You've got to do what you love, because it is hard work, it is late nights, it's early mornings, it's so much stress, there's problem after problem. And if you don't love it, then you're not going to achieve greatness in it, because you'll just go get an easier job. If all you want to do is make money, there's lots of other ways to make money that are a lot easier than owning your own business. It is hard work, and especially with like the DJ lifestyle, I never seen it as a job. It was never a job to me, because I loved doing it. It was my passion. I couldn't believe that I was getting paid to do that when I eventually did start getting paid to do it. And I'd say the success back then came from completely committing to that lifestyle and committing to being a DJ and committing to being a promoter. It wasn't a secondary job for me. It wasn't something I did part-time. I didn't have a normal job through the week and then go DJ on a weekend. I was 100% committed to that from the start. I knew I wanted to be a DJ. I had 2 dreams in life, which were to be a DJ and own a venue. And I committed to them since being 12 years old.
Yes, that's the one.
So when I was getting more successful, and there was other people, other DJs and other promoters doing events around me, they all had secondary jobs. This was just, you know, a bit of extra money on the side or something they did for enjoyment. Whereas, you know, this was me, this was my life. I fully 100% committed to that lifestyle. I didn't have a second job. I didn't have a plan B. It was all or nothing, and I did everything it took to make it work. And especially with, I guess, the nightlife industry, you know, you have got to have that mentality, because it's a very fast-paced industry. There's a lot of good sides, a lot of bad sides, but as you know, with owning your own business, there are no days off. It's 24/7. It's 365. Going away on a bank holiday weekend, forget it. Going away on an abroad holiday and not being on your phone, not being on your emails, not a chance. Sunday dinners with your family. I didn't have a Sunday dinner with my family for about 10 years. It's making sacrifices.
That's why I text you more Sundays saying, do you want to come, Phil?
It's making sacrifices like that, and it'll bring out the very best in you. It'll test every single brain cell you've got, and it'll also take you some very dark places, which is why you seriously need to look yourself in the mirror if you are planning on starting a business and say, do you really want this? Do you love it? Because it'll spit you out if not. And I do fucking love it. I wouldn't change what I do for the world. I absolutely love it. I wake up every day doing what I love. I don't feel like I'm going to work. I don't feel like it's a chore. And then when the problems do come, like, you know, the late nights, the early mornings, staffing issues, traveling all over Europe, whatever it is, they're not problems, because they're just part of the process of progressing. So if I've got to do that, if I've got to get up early, if I've got to put in a 20-hour shift, if I've got to go 3 days without any sleep and get on 4 different flights, I never once moan about that, because it's getting to where I want to be. So why the hell would I moan about that?
This is exactly why I asked you on this show today. The reason I asked you on here today is because, as you can see, one's in good rig, one's not in good rig. One's fashionable, one's not fashionable. And we're totally opposites, but actually, cutting middle, my life is very, very similar to yours. I've always wanted the same thing. Everything that's just come out of your mouth is about you and being a DJ and running a venue and having a club. But if you actually decipher it all down, it's find your passion, make it your profession, never work another day in your life. And I've been doing that since I was 12, 13-year-old. Exactly the same as you, which is why I was so keen to get you on here. So, you know, you might be thinking, like, why do you want to get me on here? I wanted to get somebody on. A podcast is an interesting conversation between two people. And being a butcher from Leeds Market and being a Saturday lad to having an e-commerce business and really trying to do best of what I can do, and being a DJ who knows all stars, who's been all over the world, who's DJed in Ibiza, who's had a place who's got a really top venue in Leeds City Centre. It might seem polar systems apart, but actually life that we have, what you've just come out of your mouth there is exactly what my life's like. Staffing issues, never have help, emails, and sometimes we have a little whinge about it, but really, without
it's but you wouldn't change it. It wouldn't put you off doing it. You're not gonna have a problem and then say, right, I'm fucking all this off, I'm off to get another job. It's just wouldn't even enter your mind, them kind of thoughts. And then as you get a little bit older, I guess, and learn to manage stuff better, you just come to understand that business and life is basically one big problem, and it's about solving them problems and actually welcoming them problems. If you go around like all these positive thinkers that think everything's all rosy and the universe is going to repay you and all that bollocks, understand that life is shit. Shit is going to happen no matter what. It might happen daily, it might happen weekly, it might happen monthly, but shit is going to happen. And if you try and avoid that instead of dealing with it, then you're never going to progress. So instead of avoiding the problems and the shit, welcome it, overcome it, knowing that it's going to progress you to the next level.
You're 100% right. And one of the reasons, like, I don't kiss ass with people. I don't. What I try to do, me, is take good bits from everyone, and all through this pandemic I've spoke to some people who were like just doing what you say there, just being pissed off, moaning and whingy about it, whereas actually the whole time, every single time I got on phone to you over pandemic, like, how are you doing, Kane, this and I was like, no moaning, whinging, just preparing to get ready and be good again. And you've got the perfect attitude for business, but I think it does boil down to if you're doing something that you enjoy, and you are doing a
there's no doubt about it. If you had a job that you didn't enjoy, you're not going to be like that, because, as I say, it consumes every single part of you, the good, the bad, the ugly. So if you don't love it, truly love it, and you're not doing it just for money, like I said, you can earn money lots of ways, a lot easier ways, So unless you truly love it, forget it, don't even start. And going back to like being young and starting out in the nightlife industry, it is a bit of a pipe dream. You go tell your mum or your dad, you want to be a DJ and put on parties, they're going to say, all right, that's nice, son, but go get a proper job. Well, Grandad still tells me to get a proper job now. You know what I mean? And
your granddad will still say that to you if you own Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, and it is a shame, is that, because the hospitality and nightlife industry is such a worthwhile and exciting industry with a lot of opportunities in it. And probably, for me, it's the most important industry, because I can't think of another industry that brings people together like ours. You're talking, hundreds of thousands, millions of people across the world in some of these concerts and some of these festivals, all together agreeing on one thing. I don't know any other business that does that.
No, I don't.
You've got mass, let's say, religious events, but not everyone believes in that same religion. Whereas you go to a festival, you go to Glastonbury with 160,000 people all having a good time. What other industry can do that? So when you do go tell your parents that you want to be a DJ or you want to be a promoter, or when you tell your teachers that, then, I think they should take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree with you, but, it all boils down to being in my opinion, you're like an absolute professor of what you do because you've studied it, you've lived, you've eaten, breathed it. Like, Ronaldo does football, Phil does meat, Kane does entertainment and industry, and it shows in what a hit you've had in Leeds City Centre. I mean, we both know Teddy George very well, got a great bar in Fibre, and now people talk about Fibre and Dollhouse and Fibre. It's like the big names now, and to get that name in Leeds City Centre in such a short space of time, you've got to be doing something around it.
Yeah, I mean, when when we decided to do the bar, again, it was about committing 100% to that. At the time, I was still DJing, and I had to make some decisions and some sacrifices and be disciplined again to, there's no way I can do this bar and give it 100% and make a success of it like I have done with DJing and promoting if it's only got 80% of me or if it's only got 99% of me. I've got to give this 100%, which is why it was at the right time to stop DJing. And it wasn't a case of really stopping DJing or quitting DJing. I completely fulfilled that dream of DJing. You know, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be playing at festivals in front of thousands and thousands of people and travelling all over Europe and having...
You absolutely nailed it. I mean,
having an Ibiza residency.
I didn't know whether you'd want to talk about DJing or not, and I certainly don't want to go right back to it. But you did, as far as DJing goes, you absolutely hammered it, didn't you?
Listen, I started DJing in my bedroom, and then I honed my skills at my mum's bar in Ossett, which is a little shithole in Ossett. So to do that and then do everything that I did with Tom, it still blows my mind. And it was one gig. You know, I've been going to Ibiza for many years, and when Ushuaia in Ibiza was built, for me, I mean, it's a matter of opinion, but that is the pinnacle of clubs for me. It's like the best club and the most, you know, the best club for me, that is. And I used to go to Radio 1 at Ushuaia, and I always said, you know, I'm going to play on that stage one day. And a few years later, we got a booking to play at Ushuaia. And I did that. We was already talking about owning a venue, so it was all kind of coming together. And I actually cried when I come off stage.
Not wrong with that.
Which is completely out of character for me.
I'm not, for you, yeah.
I'm not an emotional person. And I knew, because I knew in that moment that, right, that this chapter's done now. It's time to get the venue. And pretty much after that, we had a full winter of shows still to do. And then I went away in January, had a bit of a break before starting this next chapter. And then during that time as well, we changed our business model for the events company, because Sleeping is Cheating was always a weekly events. It was, you know, 52 weeks a year, 2 or 3 shows every week. We were doing like upwards of 100 shows every year. But we could see the market changing. People didn't want to be in the same venue every single week. People wanted to go to large scale events. So we changed the model of that business to a large scale events company, which is what Sleeping is Cheating is now. And that obviously freed up a lot of time to work completely on the bar. So again, committing 100% to Dollhouse, and you know, the success speaks for itself. And when you do commit 100%, when you've truly given everything you've got to a project, one, you're giving yourself a better chance of it working. And when it does work, that is pure happiness, because you know you've given absolutely everything, and to see it then come to fruition and work, that's what keeps you going.
It's certainly, for me, who appreciates good business, appreciates a well-run business, and coming from a market background, you know, if you're a proper market trader, your pitch looks well, everything's sorted out, your flash looks right, customers looked after properly. Your granddad will know all this lingo better than you, but you probably do from being a kid. But your pitch and your stall and everything about your club is, it's like not dissimilar to market trading. But one thing I am interested to speak with somebody, bearing in mind, I am not a nightclub man. I'm up at, again, total other spectrum scale. I'm not a big music man. And I'm not certainly into nightclubbing, although I have been to Ibiza once, and I like to go with you and Tom. It'd be all right carrying me around. I'd be like Doylem that you take into bars, because I just don't know the difference between music and not. But I like more like Lionel Richie and that concert at Temple Newsam, 80s concert. But where do you see nightclubs going now? How do you think it's going to go? Do you think it'll go back to like, or do you think what's going to happen?
There'll always be nightclubs. There'll always be clubbing. Although it's not something yourself does, and even me and Tom, we wouldn't go like to a rave these days.
No, you used to entertain them.
Yeah, but your young ones are always going to want it. But we could see that, I mean, as crazy as and insane this sounds, it's all down to social media. The trend evolved because of social media. People really think about now where they can check in, where they can get that content for Instagram the following week. So that's why they want to be at events where they can say, I'm at Patrick Topping, I'm at Warehouse Project. Saying I'm at Mission on a Saturday night, there's no content there for them. And we could see that happening. People that went out religiously every Saturday to the same venue didn't want to be there anymore. They wanted these large-scale events, or they wanted to be dressed up in a bar. And that's pretty much where you're at now. You've got a really good bars where you can go get dressed up and have a nice drink and get your tables and all that. Or you've got your raves, you've got your large-scale events. Your nightclubs in the middle, they're just floating in the middle. There's nowhere for them. Now, all this COVID stuff, when it does come back, is going to reignite nightclubs. So they've probably got a bit of a lifeline there. For how long, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. But for me, it's bars where you can get dressed up and have that VIP vibe. And then it's your large-scale raves. That's where I see the future. And festivals have had a huge part to play in it as well. There's a festival pretty much every weekend now. You can go to a festival, you can see all these ridiculous lineups. So why are you going to go to your local nightclub and watch DJ Dave or these big names that you want to go see at the festivals? The festivals have outpriced the clubs, so you can't get them names in the clubs anymore, which was a huge part of it as well. Like, we were trying to get bookings for our events, and you're talking like upwards of 20 grand for someone that's got any kind of pull. And at 1,000 capacity event, you do the maths, it don't work out, it don't stack up.
Did you used to play that Ocean Beach and stuff in Ibiza?
We've done Ocean Beach, yeah. We've done Ocean. I mean, the loose plan, I never kind of fully closed the chapter on DJing. Yeah, I still love DJing, and I'll still.
Would you ever do it again?
I'll still play the odd set, yeah. When we've got something big and something new and something different, I'll do it purely for the love. I'm not doing it to progress or anything. But the loose plan, obviously, I'd never run a bar. I didn't know if I would like it or not. So the loose plan was possibly to go back to DJing and start off on another path of doing a different musical direction or whatever. But then I started learning about the operational side of venues, and that has given me like a whole treasure chest of experiences. Like, being a DJ, obviously the buzz is playing a record and seeing thousands of people go crazy. That buzz is better than if you've got the nicest looking bird in the world and they said, right, you can have sex with her or you can play a set in front of 20,000 people. I'm picking the set every day.
So am I. I'm happily married. I never do that.
But that's the buzz, you know what I mean? And I didn't think I'd be able to replicate that. But now I've got the venue, it's given me all these different elements. Not only am I deciding who's playing and what music, you've got stuff like, your staff, your team, how you get greeted at the door, the cocktail menu, the drinks, how cool the aircon is, the temperature, the lighting. There's so many different elements, and it's just got my brain ticking, and I just absolutely love it. Yeah. So the venue operational side is where I want to be now. I
can see it in there. I can see, like, I'm no big club member. I can see the parallels of how it is, and you absolutely love it, and it's lovely to see somebody love the job as I do mine. Sometimes I used to think I was a bit of a weirdo because I actually loved work.
Yeah.
But you have so many, with the exact opposite ends of a battery, but actually a lot of what we do is very similar because we're passionate about what we do, and I'm just really, really, really pleased for you, and I can't wait to see what goes on going forward. And as long as I'm allowed in every single venue, I don't even queue. He has to tell me off sometimes, I just go straight to the front and queue about 10 deep. I miss Ballard, I'm allowed in. I'm your worst nightmare. Somebody like me turning up, especially when I've had a few lagers, but I don't mean it. I get away with it because I'm a nice lad. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
And you know, it's been a pleasure listening to you, and I wish you absolutely every bit of success. Not that you're gonna need it, because you know exactly what you're doing, and just make sure you've got my tab open in Dollhouse, because I'll be back soon.
Listen, you keep supplying me with me. I'll keep getting you in.
Anytime. Right, we've done the podcast. It'd be absolutely criminal when I've got a good mate of mine here to go away with an empty stomach. You can't come with you can't come to Meat Mansion and not get something nice to eat.
This is my payment.
So this is his payment. Everybody who comes gets a treat. Today we've got 21 day aged, mature Highland cattle like these. So like a lot of the meat that we buy in England, we like to have big, lean, soft meat. Highland cattle are actually some of my favourites. Look, I have them here, I have them on my cups, I have them on my pictures. I actually have them up there, look. They're actually my favourite, but they're not the easiest to sell.
So they don't have these in England?
They're more like a rarer breed, and they're up Scotland. That's where they originate from, and that's why you've got a more cover of fat on them, because obviously years and years and years and years ago, these are what they call a heritage breed. They would obviously have more fat on them to keep them warm. Do you know what I mean? So they're a fattier meat. People don't tend to go for as much fat nowadays. But I've done a bit of a deal with a farmer. I've took some off him. We're going to have some on special next week. But I thought I'd bring some here today because it's a bit of a, you know, you like a bit of quality, Kane. You're a top man. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a fillet man, so I do like stuff like this, but it's a bit fiddly, and I just like a good solid fillet.
Kane's like a fillet steak, man. And the reason I brought you this is because you probably won't pick something with a little bit of mottling of fat through and a covering
definitely like that. I'd just
So what I want you to do is, you know, cook it with it on, and if fat isn't for you in texture in your mouth, you just cut it off. But the flavours in this meat will be really, really good. These are T-bone steaks. I've brought them up to room temperature while they're still covered. Which is really important to cook steaks from room temperature. I'm gonna Himalayan salt and pepper them now, and then I'm gonna cook them and serve them up for us. And let's see what you think.
Let's go.
Let's go. So, pan extra hot, steaks at room temperature, salted and peppered.
What we got in there?
Just butter.
Just butter?
Straightforward butter. I'm gonna fry them in butter.
You salt and pepper them before you put them in, yeah?
Yeah. Good amount of seasoning. Give them a right good blasting. Right, just wait up, kid.
I need to hurry up.
Just another 30 seconds, because you've got to let it rest. Right, go! If you want salad, you're allowed salad, but you can't have sauce.
Forget the salad.
So obviously, you know what it is, like you fillet sirloin. So if you like fillet, just eat inside of it first.
Beautiful, that fillet.
If you like the look of the Highland cattle T-bone rib steaks, I've got some coming on special offer next week. What do you think?
Superb, mate. Absolutely delicious.
You taste it with it. I know you're not a fat man, but you taste that with having that bit of fat on it gives that bit of taste.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you just if you don't like fat, just cut it off, but it'll still get flavour in meat. So bon appetit.